As the city approaches this week's opening of the second rail segment from Halawa to Middle Street, we're taking a look back on the windy road that brought us here.
Our Kiahi Tucker revisits the big ideas, the debates, the mistakes, and the building efforts that are finally connecting Oahu's first and second cities.
Talk of a rail project to ease Oahu's traffic troubles first began in 1968, when Neil Blaisdell was the mayor. His successor a year later, Frank Fosse, championed the idea for a 29-mile rail line from Hawaii Kai to Pearl City, but Fosse lost his re-election bid in 1980. A few months later, new mayor Eileen Anderson canceled all rail plans.
Ridership numbers that had been anticipated when HART was proposed are simply not materializing.
But when Fosse was re-elected in 1984, he brought rail back on track. And by 1990, federal money was promised for a 17-mile system. The city wanted a 0.5% general excise tax surcharge to provide local funding. Public support was mixed, but it seemed like a done deal at Honolulu Hale. Then, suddenly, any hope for rail died during a council committee vote in 1992.
Councilmember Mancho?
No.
Councilmember Morgado?
No.
Councilmember Reen Mancho, a one-time rail supporter, changed sides in the final hours of the surcharge debate and stopped the train with a single swing vote. She said the Fosse administration failed to prove the project was financially sound.
I think the people of the city and county of Honolulu, especially the younger generation, have lost out.
Fosse's successor, Jeremy Harris, started bus rapid transit before his term was up in 2004. But a few months later, new mayor Mufi Henneman scrapped the system. Henneman was able to get funding for rail after state legislators allowed counties to impose a GET surcharge to pay for public transportation systems. Oahu's 4% GET increased to 4.5%. It expires in 2030.
It will not waste taxpayers' dollars. I make that pledge to you.
There was also a highly influential supporter in Congress, longtime Hawaii U.S. Senator Daniel Inouye.
I guarantee you this much, I'm going to do my damnedest to see that the money comes in.
What followed was years of back and forth over the right route and the type of system. In 2008, voters finally had their say and chose steel-on-steel rail. They also voted 2 years later to create the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, or HART. The city finally broke ground in 2011 for what had become a $4 billion project, but work was soon paused for more than a year because of a federal lawsuit over Native Hawaiian burial sites. During that time, former Governor Ben Cayetano joined the 2012 mayoral race to kill the project if elected.
The most mismanaged project that I've ever seen in my 28 years in public office.
But Cayetano lost to rail supporter Kirk Caldwell. Over the next few years, the project struggled with rising costs, public distrust, changes in leadership, and funding shortfalls. The Federal Transit Administration eventually withheld federal money and forced HART to issue several recovery plans. In 2020, the agency canceled a public-private partnership plan for the city center section because bids were higher than expected.
Both came in above $1 billion, almost $1.3 billion above the affordability limits.
I, Rick Blangiardi, do solemnly swear.
The tough job of figuring out how to pay for rail was then passed on to Honolulu's next leader, Rick Blangiardi. He eventually got federal approval to cut the line 1.25 miles short, ending in Kaka'ako instead of Ala Moana. The city also ditched a $330 million park and ride structure at Pearl Highlands to keep the project's price tag under $10 billion.
Well, our intent was to say, how much money do we have, and how far can we possibly take this?
In the summer of 2023, half a century after those early discussions, the first segment of the rail line finally opened from Kapolei to Halawa. Ridership struggled, but the trains were running, and regulars appreciated the service. And this week, the second segment will open, from Halawa to Middle Street, with stops at Pearl Harbor and the airport. and express buses connecting to UH Manoa and Waikiki. Hawaii's largest ever public works project now includes 16 miles of track and 13 finished stations. And work is underway right now on the next segment, called City Center, which will include 3 more miles of track and 6 more stations. The target date to open is in 2031. After that, no one knows. Leaders are still hoping to make it to Ala Moana Center and beyond, but they'll need a lot more money to make that dream a reality.